Oh, Garrett Crochet. I would feel better about chalking this up as just one bad start if it didn't come on the heels of his worst month with the Red Sox. Now, still a good month. Okay? I mean, most pitchers would take a month where they have an ERA of 3.19.
Oh, yeah.
But we've talked all year, and even from when they initially acquired him, talked about acquiring him last year, can he handle the full workload? You know, you look at his month-by-month ERA, 185, 203, 290, 173, 319. So he's already coming off, again, his worst month. It's not a bad month, just his worst month. And then he has that start that he has last night. He's made his last 2 games on normal rest. Neither one has he looked like vintage Crochet. Last night was 7 earned, where it looked like he was cruising until the 6th. The start before, thank you, Nick, he was more hittable, I'd say, than normal against Baltimore. So are there reasons to be concerned about him? Was last night a one-off? Are the innings starting to catch up with Crochet? How are you feeling based on the trend line with him?
Well, I'll tell you what. We have an early nominee for Stat of the Week.
Wow.
Courtesy of Brian Barrett. Used to work here, now at The Ringer. He's talking about Garrett Crochet. On 4 days rest this year, he has a 3.48 ERA. On 5 days rest, a 2.29 ERA. And that's almost a run and a half different. And again, 3.48, that's a good starter. It's a quality starter. That's solid. You'll take 3.48.
But you're shaving more than a run off his ERA,
but also
by waiting an extra day.
But one of the reasons why we like the team and why this team is different than it was last year and why they could make noise in the playoffs is because you have one of the best pitchers in baseball, which is more the 2.29 ERA. He points out, too, the last 2 games were on 4 days rest. He went 10 straight starts of at least 5 days rest for 10 straight starts, he says, before the Orioles outing. So because of off days and things like that, not like they were skipping him or pushing him, but they had the off days sort of lined up where he didn't have to throw with only 4 days rest. He had the 5 days rest, so that sort of extra day, despite still being in a regular 5-man rotation, and he's lights out with that.
True.
A long way of saying it is,
I would just counter that, though, real quick, just looking at it, because I heard Curtis and Greg talking about this morning. He really hadn't pitched on 5 days rest since May until these last 2 starts. His ERA, and he did it a lot in April and May.
Yeah.
His ERAs in April and May were 185 and 203. So,
but that was okay. But early in the season,
correct. So, but I guess that's my point. I don't just think it's the 5 days where, like, magically he can't pitch on 5 days rest. I wonder if at this point in the year, the total accumulation of the innings is just catching up to him.
So he has thrown already 32 1/3 more innings than he's ever pitched at the major league level. Also, these games all count. Like, there's got to be a little something different. And not that, he's not a competitor and he was trying to win all those games, but the last half of last season for the White Sox, he was going 4 innings and they would take him out.
Yeah.
And this team was one of the worst teams of all time. Not his fault, but it was like, you can only kind of ramp yourself up so much for that, as opposed to sold out Fenway Park, with the playoff spot on the line. So these innings, not only is it more innings, but like they're just bigger, more impactful. Like, I'm sure your adrenaline is pumping more so innings. I think what they need to do, and you could argue, it's kind of babying these starting pitchers, and he's a hoss, he should be able to go. I'd skip him occasionally. I'd give him the extra day. They're already okay doing like bullpen games. Tonight's a bullpen game. So I would just make sure he is as healthy as possible.
Well, I think that's the answer. Especially with the cushion they have in the standings. They're 6 games up, as we talked about earlier, about, not missing a playoff spot. Now, with Anthony potentially hurt, it is just about making the playoffs. I'm less concerned about first place in the division. I'd love to go get it. I don't know how realistic that is without Anthony. So, yeah, pitch him on 5 days rest every 6th day, if you will, or 6+ days.
And so, like, this works out.
Get him ready for October.
So, for example, they don't play tomorrow, right? So you have a game tonight. Looks like it's a bullpen game. We think it's going to be our guy Peyton Tolley on Friday, then Giolito and Bayo over the weekend out in Arizona, and then the next time Crochet would pitch is on Monday. So I'm not suggesting skip it. I'm just saying, like, if you can line it up more often where it's 5 days off, maybe the occasional 6, depending on how things are going, I would take that, and I would embrace it. There's no reason to kind of rush them up. Also, it makes me second-guess any thought I would have come playoff time, where I'm always like, ooh, can you get your ace back in there? Can you get your ace back on 3 days rest? Can you get your ace back? Like that kind of thing.
Well,
I'm less inclined to do.
It depends on the game for me, right?
Well, if it's like a game 7, I guess it's a little bit
this is what I mean.
different. But even then, I'd be like, be prepared to have somebody come in the 5th.
Yeah.
Like I'm not expecting him to give you 7 innings.
Yeah, it's the ALCS and you're down or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
But I agree. It does make you rethink any chance of wanting to go to a 3-man rotation or anything like that.
Right.
617-779-7937. Paul's in Westfield. Hello, Paul.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
Very good.
I like your fair and balanced approach, and I would say that
That's us.
there's the best thing you said is we're shocked to see what happened with Crochet in the 6th. It's like watching Bueller in the 4th, and Professor Barrett's concept of a little bit more fatigued. It also makes sense, and this is something you can also add to this. We all talk on the radio. We also have lives behind it. There's stuff that happens in our daily life with emotion or family or career. You never know. We may not sleep well, so there's other elements outside the game we're not aware of. But this is definitely the most important thing, is you finally have a sample where, Crochet throws so many fastballs, this is going to happen. But it usually comes, like the announcer said, you'll get a run here and there, and then he gave up a hit and a home run, which very rarely happens. So this is the point. You have a chance to look and study those balls that he's throwing where he's getting hit, because he never does this, and find out what's going wrong with the mechanics. Where was the natural couture?
Okay, so is it
The
mechanics?
natural couture?
Is it a bad night's sleep?
I don't really sleep much.
No,
And you can't tell on a day-to-day. That's why I want the biggest coffee going.
That's a good
it's
point.
It's all coming together.
It's
it
a good
all
point.
ties back in.
When you have your 32 ounces,
then I'm
your
shot
large
out of a cannon.
or your extra large. It does all tie together.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so
There's a lot of moving parts.
here's the thing with Crochet. I guess the answer is you can give him an extra day here or there. I don't mind they tried to lean in on him for every 5th day.
Yeah.
When you're in August, and they tried it for the first time in months, but now I'd go away from trying it after last night's start. But I don't mind that they tried it. This is always a reality with Crochet. Like Twitch chat. Oh, I can't wait for them to say that they shouldn't have re-signed him. No.
Oh, no, absolutely.
Want to
Great
re-sign him.
signing.
Guy's one of the best pitchers in
signing.
baseball.
Yeah.
It's just, this was always the reality with him. At some point, he was going to go to a territory that he hasn't in terms of innings pitched and workload. And how is he going to handle it? So
He gave up 2 home runs to guys hitting 159.
Yeah. So
including Big Christmas.
I don't want to overreact to that, but the trend line with him is, again, August was his worst month, and now September he had his worst start of the year. So that's the trend line with him right now. And I don't really know what the Red Sox do to combat it. I want him to pitch. I don't want to shut him down. I don't want to put him on the IL. I don't want to skip him for a start.
Yeah.
But this was always the reality with him. He was going to go to uncharted territory where he's never been, and let's see how he handles it. And
Maybe
this was a fear with his lack of a workload in the past.
Maybe he's taken the Chris Sale comparisons to the next level, where Chris Sale was always really, really good until the end of the year. Now, that was more like injury, but he started to fall apart every year, like August, September, and people looked the other way.
White Sox, lefty, can't pitch in September.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
No,
we're going to need him to turn that around in his next start, and I have faith that he will.
I do, too.
Assuming it's on 5 days rest.
I think it will be.
And not 4 days rest.
Yeah.
I'm feeling better about that.
I think so.
But I guess we'll have to